Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got our daily college basketball best bets for Thursday, January 23rd. And before we get into the best bets, you can get your comments out the way. I understand. Yes, it was bad. Now, not making excuses, but Indiana with a terrible meltdown at Northwestern. Now, I was opposed to Mike Woodson being fired in the first half, but now I am back on the fire Mike Woodson train. Fire that guy. We need a restart in Bloomington for basketball. All right, don't get me started. Do not get me started on the Georgia game. Georgia plus 1.5. Bro misses the free throw and then converts an unnecessary layup to go over the spread and cover plus 1.5 or minus 1.5 for the Razorbacks. Just those two right there could have been a 3-and-2 day. Don't get me started on the meltdown that Ole Miss had. I mean, what are we doing? We're leading the entire game. We miss a free throw. Game-winning free on the other side gives A&M the victory. It's just a shout out to the Army Black Knights. Nobody's got me. Army's got me. Better day today, trust me. Better day today. And folks, if you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. In a couple hours, we're going to have our NBA predictions out on the channel as well. We've got an early game today in the NBA. First game is at 11 a.m. in Paris, France. Wemby's homecoming against the Indiana Pacers in France. So make sure to check that video out again at 10 because the first game is at 11. We've got a play we really like in the Paris, France game early today. Okay, and also our PFL Dubai. Nurmagomedov versus Hughes predictions are on the channel, or Dagestan versus Ireland 2. That video is out on the channel as well. Make sure to check that one out in the link down below. All right, on to the first of our 5 best bets for today as we go first to Louisiana. Yes, we start in the Cajun Dome. I know. 1 p.m. game, we're going to give it a shot. In Lafayette, Louisiana, give me the Ragin' Cajuns plus 5.5 at home against the Texas State Bobcats. Guys, you're going to look at these two teams. You're going to say, oh, Texas State 11-8, Louisiana, who we talked about earlier in the season, they were really bad. But hey, the first Louisiana game we picked this year where we picked the Ragin' Cajuns, we had Kent State against them earlier in the year, but the first time we picked Louisiana all year long, they actually finally won a basketball game over Southeastern Louisiana. That was their second win all season long. At the time, again, they were like 2-8. They're now 6-13. Improvement. Okay? Louisiana is 4-3 in the Sun Belt this season, right? Win over App State. At home, a win at Coastal Carolina and Myrtle Beach, and then 2 victories both at home and on the road against UL Monroe. The losses on the road at Georgia State, they got blown out. At home against ODU, yikes. We're gonna pretend we didn't remember that one. And then on the road against the Red Wolves at Arkansas State. The Arkansas State loss, not horrible at all. The Georgia State loss, could be better, but it was on the road. This game's at the Cajun Dome. It is hard to go to Louisiana. Well, it's hard to go on the road and win. I don't know about going to the Cajun Dome. But Texas State, they're a 4-3 team in the Sun Belt as well. Yeah, back-to-back victories, but they're both at home. I mean, again, good wins against Southern Miss, who is not a great team, and again, Georgia State, who's not a great team either. But when Texas State goes on the road, they don't play as well. They have only won 1 game in the Sun Belt this year on the road, and it was a razor-thin margin over Troy. So again, for Texas State to cover the 5.5, obviously, they have to go on the road to the Cajun Dome, and they have to win this game by 6 points. It's a lot. It's a lot to ask for Texas State. Again, I have a prediction for the winner of this game. It's on the screen right now, as you can see. Yeah, we have Texas State to win the game. I don't care who wins. We just need Louisiana to cover the plus 5.5 points, and that's what I think they do. Again, Texas State, on the road, they're a significantly worse team. They lost on the road earlier this year, non-conference spot to the Florida Atlantic Owls. They lost at Albany Christian earlier this year. They lost, obviously, in Fort Worth to Texas Christian. But even in conference play, right, they lose on the road at Marshall. They lose on the road to App State. They played Southern Miss twice, beat them at home, but went to Southern Miss and lost the basketball game. So again, I think there's potential for the Ragin' Cajuns to win, but we get them as underdogs here. Early spot, 1 p.m. Obviously, it's going to be 4 on the East Coast, or 4 at least in Louisiana. I'm a little concerned this game gets snowed out. Actually, yeah, I am kind of concerned this game gets snowed because the LSU game, at least for women's college basketball, got bumped to Friday for the LSU South Carolina game. And then the Pelicans yesterday had their game delayed, into the late sometime in the future against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think this game's going to play. I could check if Lafayette is having snow right now. I don't think. I couldn't tell you. Road closures in Lafayette, Louisiana. Oh, yikes. let's just hope the game happens. All right, let's hope it happens. But if it does happen, we have Louisiana plus 5.5. I didn't think about this when I first made this prediction. I'll give you guys a backup pick just in case. I'm gonna give a very slight explanation. The next game I was thinking of doing is Idaho State on the road minus 5.5 against Sacramento State. Okay, so if this game doesn't happen, we're gonna replace this best bet with Idaho State on the road at the Nest against Sac State. I think Idaho State's a better basketball team. No, Sacramento State just sucks, okay? But Idaho State's not bad. So I do think Dylan Darling and Idaho State is able to go on the road and beat Sac State. So that's the backup pick if this one doesn't go. But again, if this one does go, we like Louisiana enough. I think they can play decent defense, stay in the basketball game, and not lose by more than 6. Again, Texas State, a significantly worse team on the road than they are at home. So that's why we're going with the Raging Cajuns. And Louisiana, for as bad as they started their year, they were at one point 1-8, 2-9. They did lose by 30 points at home to Lamar. Oh God. Yeah, it's fine. Lamar's a good basketball team. They're 4-3 in conference, right? And they just went on the road to UL Monroe and won. I get that's not the most impressive victory, but they've been able to win so far in Sun Belt play. We just need them to beat Texas State here. Or we don't even need them to win. Sorry, we just need them to cover. And I think they'll do it. I think this is a competitive basketball game. Again, I think Texas State probably wins. But hey, if Louisiana does, we cash as well. Give me the Raging Cajuns at home plus 5.5 here against the Texas State Bobcats. Let's move on to our next game as we go to Charleston versus the UNC Wilmington Seahawks. I've been waiting for this spot. Ever since I watched, and I've been starting to really, eye in on CAA basketball. From what I've been seeing, at least on Twitter, this is the craziest conference in college basketball this season. So once I saw that a week ago, I started to really look into the CAA conference. I'll be honest, this was not one of the conferences this is not like a Mountain West where I watch every single Mountain West game I can, or this is not a Big Ten where I watch all the Big Ten games, and even, the Big West and the oh my God, I'm blanking so hard right now. The West Coast, my goodness. I've been eyeing in on the CAA now, okay? And I think I've got it figured out. UNC Wilmington can't go on the road and beat Charleston. Charleston's the best team in this conference. The Charleston Cougars are the best team in the CAA. Their only loss this year is on the road at Monmouth, which is confusing because UNC Wilmington went on the road and beat Monmouth, but UNC Wilmington went to Hofstra and lost. Hofstra's 2-4 this year. Charleston obviously beat Hofstra at Hofstra. So both these teams are very good. Don't get me wrong. UNC Wilmington has 2 losses in the CAA this season. That is to Townsend at home, but Townsend is the other really good team in the CAA, and then obviously at Hofstra, and then Charleston's loss again is at Monmouth. But I do think Charleston's the better basketball team. I got to watch a lot of this Charleston team around Christmas, obviously, when they played in that tournament in Hawaii, the Hawaiian Airlines Invitational, I believe that's what they called it. We got to watch a lot of Charleston basketball. I saw them, again, lose to Oregon State, but that's fine. Beat Charlotte. We saw them beat Loyola Chicago as well, who just absolutely pissed the bed in that tournament, that invitational. And honestly, the Ramblers have been horrible ever since. It's been really bad for Loyola Chicago recently. But Charleston, again, has found ways to win games this year. This is a 15-4 team. They are led by Ante Brozovic, who is an absolute unit for this basketball team. He does everything for this team. Like the senior out of Zagreb, Croatia, averages 18.5 and 8.5 boards per game. I mean, again, Brozovic is a monster for this squad, and he should play a big impact in this game against UNC Wilmington, who is led by Donovan Newby, who averages 16 points a game. You get Kamari McGriff, who averages 11. Again, I'm not denying that the Seahawks are a good basketball team. Again, they're 4-2 in the CAA for a reason. They did win a big game at home in their last one against William & Mary, and I didn't know that UNC Wilmington, their crowd got down like that. I didn't know that many people showed up to UNC Wilmington Seahawks basketball games, but that was something. I was watching, my money go down the drain watching William & Mary play the Seahawks last weekend, or actually that was on Monday? During the week? Wow. On Monday. But anyways, I think the Cougars get this one. They're at home, and I do think they're the best team in the CAA. Again, we've seen this team all year long. They're coming off a 2-point victory at home against Northeastern. Yeah, close basketball game, but they came out on top, and they had a huge night in that one out of Daywick Tavares, who's averaging 14 points a night, but Tavares in that basketball game, 32 points. This guy can explode for a bunch of points. Again, 32 in the Northeastern victory. Even in the loss against Monmouth, 20 points and 9 boards. The Townsend victory, which keeps on aging better and better. Again, that's Townsend's only loss this year in the CAA. That's why, again, Charleston's currently the number one team in the conference. 20 points for Tavares in that game as well. The sophomore out of Pensacola, New Jersey, has been really good for Charleston this season, and I think the Cougars get this one. Again, Brozovic is great. Tavares can get things done as well. This is an all-around really good Charleston basketball team. If I had to pick a winner right now in the CAA, it would be Charleston. I do think they are the best team in the conference right now. And again, yeah, UNC Wilmington's good, but when they have to go on the road, again, they lost at Haas for their last road game. I think, again, going into Charleston is going to be a rough environment for them. Again, the Townsend lost to UNC Wilmington, overtime game at home. It is what it is. But this is the team, guys, that early in the season, they went to Howard and lost. They went to DC and lost to the Howard Bison. If you don't know how bad Howard is, man, on MLK Day, they lost to Martin Luther King's college, Martin Luther King's former college, obviously, and the Morehouse Maroon Tigers. That's a D2 school. What? Howard hosted Morehouse and lost on Monday. And you know who went to Howard and lost earlier in the season? UNC Wilmington. So a D2 school did what UNC Wilmington couldn't earlier this season. And I'm not trying to crap on the Seahawks. I'm just saying on the road, they are significantly worse than at home, obviously, like when they had that William and Mary game. I don't think this is that good of a road basketball team. And I do think the I do think the Charleston Cougars get them. Howard Bison, my goodness. Yeah, I think Charleston at home gets UNC Wilmington, and we're getting pretty good odds in this game too. I'm surprised. -2.5, that's it. I'd expect Charleston to be like a 5.5 point favorite. So I'm all over -2.5. Give me the Charleston Cougars here to beat the UNC Wilmington Seahawks and really solidify themselves as the best team right now in the CAA conference. Next up, we move to Middle Tennessee on the road at Sam Houston in Huntsville, Texas. We like Middle Tennessee. Okay, odds are pretty close. Taking the road team here. I just think the Blue Raiders are better than Sam Houston. Sam Houston has not been good in the CUSA this season. They just haven't. This team is 1-5 in the CUSA this year. They beat an FIU team who has struggled all year long. FIU is 1-5 in conference play this season. And Sam Houston's 1-5 as well, their only victory being in that lowly FIU team. They've played at home already this year in CUSA play, and they've lost. I believe they've only had 2 home games, but still, Liberty went into town. Liberty's been very shaky this year. They got a great offense, but it's just weird. Liberty has games where they look really good, and there's some games where they just can't stop anybody. But anyways, Liberty goes into Sam Houston, beats them by 8 points. Sam Houston went on the road, lost to New Mexico State, lost to UTEP, lost to Kennesaw, and coming off an 8-point loss against Jacksonville State, who you know is banned here on the channel. We do not bet on Jacksonville State basketball. So it just kind of shows you where the Bearcats are at. They lost to UNC Wilmington earlier this season on the road, lost to App State, lost to IU in Bloomington, lost at Pitt as well, lost at Nevada to start the season as well. And this Sam Houston team, they are led by Lamar Wilkerson. This is a guy who averages 20 points a game over 33 minutes. This guy can effectively score for Sam Houston. The senior out of Ashdown, Arkansas, has been excellent again for the Bearcats this season. Played here. This is his 3rd season with Sam Houston. He's been really good. And Cameron Hufner as well, who's averaging 14 a game for the Sam Houston team, has been really good as well. He's their power forward on the squad. But Middle Tennessee is the all-around better basketball team. Middle Tennessee plays better defense, and they have a starting 5 where all these guys really effectively score. We're talking about Justin Porter, who is their leading scorer, who averages 15.5 points a game. We're talking about Isam Mustafa, who's averaging 13.5 as well for the Blue Raiders. We're talking about Cameron Weston, who's averaging 11.5 as well. Kamari Lands has been out for a while. The junior forward has been out since the Tennessee game. He's a guy who was averaging 10 at the time of his injury. And then you're looking at... I believe they had another injury this year as well. They had Jalen Counters back, though. He was hurt earlier in the year. He's one of their guards. Middle Tennessee, though, again, they've got so many guys who can score. I think they're going to overwhelm Sam Houston State. Sam Houston State, again, has 2 really effective scorers. We're talking about Wilkerson, and we're talking about Hufner. Those 2 guys are good. I'm not going to deny that, but I think the all-around better team is on the side of the Blue Raiders. And Middle Tennessee so far in conference play this year, this is a 4-1 team. Their only loss is on the road at Liberty, and we've talked about it again before. The Flames are a very odd team. They can go off some nights, and some nights they'll lose at home to Western Kentucky, and I think they lost at home to New Mexico State as well this year. I think they did, or that it was close against New Mexico State, one or the other. But Middle Tennessee 4-1 in conference play this year. They went 2 FIU and 1, which I get's not impressive, but that is, again, that's the only sample size we have for Sam Houston this year at home and Middle Tennessee on the road in CUSA play. They're both against FIU. So Sam Houston won that game against FIU, and Middle Tennessee went on the road and won against FIU. Well, Sam Houston's other game is Liberty, but like again, I don't know. It's not a great sample size. It's just not. But for Middle Tennessee, right, going on the road, beating FIU, going on the road, losing to Liberty. So again, common denominator there for both these squads. And then the last 3 games, they swept them all at home, beating Kennesaw State, beating Jacksonville State, and beating Western Kentucky as well. But the thing again, for the Blue Raiders, they have so many guys who can just go off and score points. That's why I think it's going to be too much for Sam Houston in this game. And I don't think the game being in Texas makes that much of a difference. Again, we have Middle Tennessee, who are 1.5 point favorites in this game, minus 115 on the money line. We like it. We like it for Middle Tennessee. Again, I don't think the home court advantage makes too much of a difference in this basketball game, and I do think the Blue Raiders go out there and get it done. So it's going to be Middle Tennessee on the road against the Sam Houston Bearcats. They'll win the basketball game, and they'll cover the 1.5 points as well. We move on to our next game, and we go to the Big West. We head to the cesspool known as UC Riverside as they host the best team in the Big West, and a team that right now would get an at-large in the NCAA tournament if they don't win their conference. We're of course talking about the UC Irvine Anteaters. Guys, I love this Anteaters team. We have been all over them all year long, and they have cashed for us pretty much every single time we've picked them all year long. I think in every game that we've picked them this year, UC Irvine has cashed for us for good reason. The Anteaters are great. Again, I cannot stress enough how good UC Irvine is. And matchup-wise, they match up perfectly with UC Riverside. They just do. Riverside struggles so much against good defensive basketball teams. They just do. And we saw these two teams play in Irvine earlier this season, and the Anteaters won 81-57. I don't think the game being in the cesspool makes that much of a difference. I really don't think it does. Now, the only reason that the odds are what they are is because Riverside just beat UC San Diego. Good victory for the Highlanders. I'm not going to lie. It's great. I can't hate that much on the cesspool, but I can. They win the game by 4 points against UCSD. That's UCSD's second loss in Big West play this season. Obviously, the first being when Irvine went to San Diego and beat them. 4th overall this year for a very good UC San Diego team. But unfortunately for UCSD, that's the game that's going to stop them if they don't win the Big West from getting into the NCAA tournament. I'm just serious. I'm just going to be honest, right? That's the game that's going to halt UCSD from getting an at-large this season, because Riverside honestly is not that good. I watched this team play at Santa Clara earlier this season. Santa Clara put belt to ass in that game, beat them 96-54 at the Levy Center. They've been better since. Their wins in conference play are against not great teams. They played CSUN before CSUN got hot on the road. They beat Fullerton at home. Fullerton's not very good. They went to Long Beach State and won, but the Beach is absolutely awful this season. They've gotten better, but they're still not that good. And then their other win again is a great victory in UCSD. Their losses again, Irvine dismantled them. Hawaii came to town and beat them. UCSB, they go on the road and lose. Again, UCR is 4-3 this season, but UCI is just that much better. We talk about UCI stars. We talk about Ben Lupton, a guy who averages 16-9. He's everything for UC Irvine. It's a difference when this guy is on the court. He is probably the best player in the Big West. I think, again, just in terms of most valuable to his team, that's Lupton. That's the center for Irvine. You get Devin Tillis who can score. You get Justin Hahn who can score. You get Miles Che. All these guys can score for UC Irvine, and they play incredible defense too. I just don't think Riverside's going to be able to score. Again, the last time we saw these two teams play, Irvine beat them 81-57. I get the game was in Irvine, but I don't think the game being at the cesspool makes that much of a difference. Hargress is a baller, I'm not going to lie. Barrington Hargress dropped 40 in the victory over UC San Diego. He's not putting back-to-back crazy performances together. I'm just going to be honest. Hargress isn't doing that in back-to-back games. I don't mind their center in Joel Armotrading. I believe they say his last name. Probably not. But he's a baller. I mean, that was the guy who really passed the eye test when I saw this UCR team in person. But I think Irvine goes to this complete cesspool, this trash-filled city, and they get it done. I think Irvine dominates the basketball game. I think, again, we're getting 7.5 points for Irvine on the road. That's, again, how many they are giving up. I think that's the terminology. They're 7.5 point favorites. And UC Irvine's going to cover this line. They will. They're going to dominate UC Riverside. UCR, again, not horrible, but not on the level of Irvine. Again, Irvine, guys, this team's going to win a game in the NCAA tournament this season. They're going to. They're going to be not an elite team, but they're going to beat a good team in the tournament. Like, I could easily see this team coming across, I don't know, Ohio State finds a way into the tournament, and it's like an 8-9 game. I'm serious. I think UC Irvine beats, Ohio State wouldn't be an 8. Yeah, if Ohio State's a 9, UCI's an 8. Yeah, I could see it, honestly. I could see UC Irvine beating like an Ohio State in the tournament. They're just that good. They played that good of defense. And Ohio State, again, they have victories. Like, they just beat Purdue. But, like, I think a game like this, if Irvine played Ohio State in the tournament, I think the Anteaters beat them. So, give me UCI to go on the road to that complete and utter disgrace of a city known as Riverside, California. And the Irvine Anteaters will get it done at that cesspool-ass university. Next up, we go on to our final game of the night, and I'm going to be at this basketball game at Santa Clara, California. We've got the Santa Clara Broncos on CBS Sports Network against the Washington State Cougars. Give me SCU, Santa Clara minus 4.5. Guys, this is a big game for Santa Clara. Huge game. Now, I thought all hope was lost. Santa Clara goes to Loyola Marymount, and they lose 57-54. I was like, all right, it's over for Santa Clara this season. It just is. The loss at USF earlier in the year, whatever. But losing at LMU, oh man. But I was wrong. This team goes to Spokane and beats Gonzaga 103-99. It was the first time that Santa Clara has beat Zaga at Zaga in a very long time, if they've ever done it before. I'm not sure. It's been a while since Santa Clara, I know for a fact, has gone there and won. And they had a crazy night out of Tyree Bryan, who had 7 threes in that game, 35 points. That was a career high for him. A guy who averages 11 points a game went completely off for Santa Clara, and they go to Zaga and win. I get it. It was the second game in a row at home that Zaga lost, obviously with the Bees being the first, but shout out to Santa Clara, man. I like Santa Clara a lot. I know, again, we were very up and down with them early in the season, but this is a great spot, man. You return home. I'm sure this crowd's going to be rocking in Santa Clara. We'll see. I hope. I'll be there. Maybe try to find me on TV. I don't know. I don't know where I'll be sitting, but I'll be sitting somewhere. Wazoo's going to lose this game. Wazoo doesn't play that well on the road. We've seen it before this season. They went to Zaga, obviously lost. This team hosted Pacific and lost. But when this team went to Washington and lost, it was just embarrassing. Because UW sucks. They just do. Guys, we found out the best team in Washington, other than Gonzaga, is Seattle University. They beat Washington, while Eastern Washington, Wazoo couldn't. Shout out to Seattle U. Wazoo led by Nate Calmes, good basketball player, really is, averaging 17.5 this season. This guy, again, is a baller for them. They've been without Cedric Coward for a while. He's been out since the beginning of the season. Lawan Watts gets into a lot of foul trouble sometimes, but is a very good forward for this Washington State team. I just think Santa Clara is better. They've got a lot of guys who can just score. I mean, there's, again, Adama Alpha-Ball, I guess, is their, kind of NBA prospect, kind of. I don't know if he's going to get drafted anymore. He doesn't have the best of season. He's a talent. I'll give him that. Again, Alpha-Ball, 6'7" from France. He is a gifted player. I don't know if he's an NBA-bound player. Maybe G League, we'll see. Maybe some team will give him a shot. Again, Santa Clara has produced NBA talent. Brandon Pozemski and obviously Jalen Williams, who is an all-star now for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Santa Clara, again, they've got Christoph Tilley, who, choked the free throws away in the San Francisco game. We're never going to forget that, Christoph, but he's a good basketball player. Again, a German center for them. He's very talented. You get Carlos Stewart, who can score. Elijah Ma, he's pretty good as well. You get Cameron Tongue off the bench, who's their best bench player, and then Tyree Bryan, again, who just had the 7 3-pointer game. I like Santa Clara in this spot. Again, they got to rise to the occasion, man. Absolutely. You got to capitalize on that momentum that you get from beating Zaga, and now you get the team from Pullman. You got to Spokane and win. Now here comes the squad from Pullman, from Eastern Washington coming to town. Gotta take care of it. Gotta handle business. Santa Clara at home. They're the better basketball team. They're coming off all that momentum, and Wazoo doesn't play all that well on the road. I think Santa Clara gets it. They win this game at home against Washington State, and they cover the 4.5 points as well. I'll be in attendance, and let's hope we can cash live. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our college basketball best bets for January 23rd. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video as well. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.